If your SOC2 or ISO program produces hundreds of screenshots but very little operational confidence, you are experiencing a design flaw. When an organization starts its compliance process by reading a framework, teams build checklists. This results in an organization that looks perfectly secure on paper but remains fragile under actual business pressure. Here is the contrast. On the left, a framework-first setup leads to control sprawl, scattered evidence, and a scramble every audit season. On the right, a risk-first model strips away the clutter. You identify the specific ways your business can lose revenue or trust and build controls specifically to prevent those scenarios. By the end of this tutorial, we will execute that shift. You will learn how to build a risk-first controls-to-evidence register that proves your operations are secure year-round. Step 0 requires gathering 3 things: an inventory of your organization's crown jewels, the data or services you cannot afford to lose, a cross-functional group of non-security stakeholders, and a completely blank spreadsheet. Changing your starting line from rigid compliance clauses to tangible business risks is the mechanism that stops the quarterly fire drill. It turns your compliance obligations into an engine for maintaining operational health. Step 1 begins in a room with your business leaders. You need to facilitate a 60 to 90-minute workshop with these non-security stakeholders to define your top 10 loss scenarios. This whiteboard graphic shows exactly how to document those scenarios. Broad categories like outage do not give engineering or IT teams any actionable instruction. But if you cross that out and write, "Critical dependency fails during renewal season, causing customer-facing downtime and SLA credits," you establish a clear threat with a measurable impact. If you skip this level of detail and settle for generic risk phrasing, you will default back to building generic compliance checklists. Step 2 takes those 10 loss scenarios and translates them into plain language control objectives. A control objective simply states what must be true to prevent the specific loss scenario from happening. When you define what must be true, watch what happens to duplicate work. Because we focus entirely on the objective, preventing unauthorized privileged access to production, we eliminate the need for 3 separate redundant controls. The isolated requirements merge into a single, highly effective rule. Writing control objectives to serve the business scenario first strips away control bloat. It clarifies exactly who owns the process and why the rule exists. Step 3 involves setting up columns in our blank spreadsheet to build a repeatable evidence engine. This structure ensures proof is reliable and consistent. The first critical column is the objective. This anchors the row to the specific defense we designed. Next, we specify the evidence output and establish the frequency. A monthly cadence ensures we catch any drift long before auditors arrive. Then we add validation and governance. These columns dictate the person responsible for verifying the control and the protocol for handling exceptions. At this stage, you must avoid the screenshot trap. Relying on manual screenshots of admin dashboards guarantees your evidence will be slow, inconsistent, and annoying for your engineers to collect. Instead, rely on automated telemetry. In this example, an identity provider exports a role change log on a schedule, which automatically feeds directly into the evidence column. Standardizing these specific columns with system-generated logs changes the nature of your compliance. You stop pausing your work to collect evidence and start generating it naturally by operating the business correctly. For step 4, we transition from passive logging to active proof. We must verify that our defenses hold up under pressure using simulated tabletop testing. We record this active proof by attaching a witness Tier 0 restore test to the register. This demonstrates capability, not just intention. Beside this test, use your auditor notes column to write one clear sentence linking the successful restore back to your original loss scenario. This guides anyone reading the document straight to your business logic. Step 5 is where we finally map the framework. Looking at the completed register, the framework crosswalk is the absolute last column. We group our multiple compliance tags next to the single mature control row we already built. If you map SOC 2 or ISO clauses before completing the first 4 steps, you will immediately recreate the chaotic, sprawling checklist we are eliminating. By saving the framework crosswalk for the end, compliance acts purely as a reporting layer. It becomes a translation tool that proves the strict discipline of your underlying operating system. Following these 5 steps leaves you with a functional Risk-First GRC operating system. You have prioritized loss scenarios tied directly to automated, validated evidence streams. The immediate result is stability. Audits cease to be a quarterly scramble for artifacts and become predictable, low-stress reviews. You are now capable of answering the difficult questions executives and customers ask. You have proven operational health and recovery capability rather than just displaying paper compliance. Like this smoothly turning mechanism, your compliance efforts now run continuously in the background. The evidence is generated automatically by a secure, well-managed environment. To begin this transition, schedule your first scenario workshop with your non-security stakeholders this week. You can download the blank template for the Controls to Evidence Register using the link in the description below.